Hi everyone, I'm Brian Yenas and thank you for joining me here at FoxNewsLatino.com. Today we're going to talk about video gaming. You know, video games that spoil kids' minds and infect them with all these violent images and really are not good for society, those video games, right? Well, no, we're talking to Jose Antonio Tejerino. He is the president and CEO of the Hispanic Heritage Foundation, and he's going to talk to us on why gaming is a youth movement that we really need to get behind. Jose Antonio, thank you so much for joining me. You're out of D.C. right now, so talk to me. Why is this movement something worthwhile?
Well, Brian, it's important that we reach out to this youth on their terms. And I have spent so many hours in meetings with a lot of people that are my age talking about the best way to reach some 15-year-old, when the best way to reach them is on their terms on platforms that they feel very comfortable with. And video gaming, we found, was one of those platforms. And with some of those negative thoughts that people have about video games, you also need to look at naval research found that people that play video games as youth end up with faster decision making by, I think, 25%, and that almost 30% are more creative when they're taking tests, according to Michigan State University, which is a partner of the Hispanic Heritage Foundation. So I'm making the point that what we need to do is to leverage this digital natives like my son and figure out a way to have them become innovators and socially innovate as well through different programs. And we've created one that's pretty interesting with the Entertainment Software Association.
Yeah, so we're talking about this program. It's called Loft ESA Video Gaming Programming, right? And this is what we're trying to do. You're trying to get kids, and this is exactly what you said, you're trying to get kids to use video gaming as a platform for really social innovation. What does social innovation mean? What is this actually going to look like for those that don't really understand perhaps what social innovation means and what the grand scheme, the end goal of this program really is?
Well, the first thing, Brian, is I would encourage people to go to loftinnovation.org, L-O-F-T, innovation.org, and find out a little more about it if they want to see something. But what we're trying to challenge them to do, and we're already having some success with in terms of the applications we're getting, is to design something that addresses a social issue. So one of them, for instance, is a phone app that is for someone's grandmother that had cancer and didn't have information in terms of how to deal with it as a Latino that didn't speak much English. So they developed this app that provides all of the information, when to take medication, and all of this background on it. Somebody else did a video game that trying to close the achievement gap and do college preparedness. Somebody else did one on voter registration to increase voter registration, and another person on how to increase your vocabulary, which I think we could all use in terms of fighting against certain words and winning if you think of other words as a vocabulary builder. So there are so many different ways, and we're going to choose 20 of them that best represent what we're trying to do. And we're going to bring them into Washington, D.C. on December 4th, I believe, is the day we're looking at, and present them to all these policymakers in terms of defined as young innovators. And they'll make the presentations of their ideas, and we'll provide them with a grant to further their innovation and their projects and ideas.
I mean, that sounds incredible. It's an incredible idea, and we're really talking about the Hispanic community and the African American community. Already in the United States, we've been talking about the need for STEM jobs, the fact that there just aren't enough. And I think this is it sounds like a smart way of promoting the fact that video gaming, while on its surface may look like it's just a game, it can actually be used as an entrance way into getting into these jobs further down the road. I mean, what kind of age group are we talking about here? You were talking about your son. He's a young kid, right? So I guess you're hoping the younger the better they get involved, and then this will ultimately lead to more STEM jobs or the interest in this type of work. Is that right?
Yes. So for this particular program, it's between 16 and 24 in terms of who can apply. But my son is a digital native. He was born listening to music on my iPhone. He was born watching his favorite videos on the iPad. And he now plays video games with such ease, and it's an organic feeling that he has when he's playing the video games, and he certainly beats his old man. But I wanted to stress that we have 10,000 baby boomers that are turning retirement age every day, Brian, over the next 20 years. There's going to be a need for tens of millions of jobs to be filled, specifically in the STEM space. And America, we're not very good at not being first. And we are very low in the rankings in terms of STEM education, STEM proficiency, and innovation. and we want to be able to figure out different ways of getting us back to the top. And when Latinos and African Americans over-index in terms of use of video games, we find that that's a perfect opportunity to try to bridge over from playing video games to developing video games to becoming a computer programmer to working with our nation's defense. Let's face it, cybersecurity is one of the biggest issues and the hottest topics right now that we're dealing with. And if you can have scores of young people that are, from the time that they're born, have a facility with technology, the next step is just getting them into that track in terms of having a career. And we don't think it's very difficult to do, and that's the purpose of this with the Entertainment Software Association.
Now, we're talking about, this is a great solution to a problem, but why, in your estimation, why is it that there is such a gap in the Hispanic community, or the perceived gap, and why there aren't enough Hispanics, there definitely are not enough Hispanics in STEM jobs or in Silicon Valley? Why do you think that is?
Well, first of all, I don't believe that's true, because I turn around and we have an overabundance of talent that we're trying to funnel into jobs. We work with ExxonMobil, for instance, and we place engineers every single year for the last 5 years. It's hundreds. We work with Silicon Valley in terms of providing talent there, and we're doing free coding camps in LA right now in terms of trying to lift our community and have us shift into that space. Because I always like to work backwards from what the need is. And historically, Brian, Latinos have always fulfilled America's needs in terms of the workforce. We're very flexible, whether it's fighting a war, whether it's building a building, whether it's taking care of kids, whether it's serving food, whatever America needs, we will do. And right now, America needs us to go into these STEM fields, and I have to tell you, there is no shortage. Our Latinos on Fastwork network, we have tens of thousands of Latinos that are in the STEM space, that are from 16 to 35 years old, and that are from the top schools in the country. And now we're leveraging them to mentor and work with other youth, as I said, through these innovation summits we're doing all over the country, through computer coding classes that our guy Manuel Pleitas is doing in LA. And there's a lot more to do, but we're heading in the right track, and we're very glad to have a program that's different and unique in this space. Because I was challenged actually by the Office of Science and Technology of the White House, and they had a bunch of us in the STEM education and STEM workforce fields and challenged us to come up with something that's unique and different. And I'm very fortunate that we can partner with the Entertainment Software Association and come up with that. And it's great to go and meet with members of Congress, and they get so jazzed about it because it is different, and it is something that's being done on the terms of the youth, which makes them more likely to head into this space, which is what we're trying to do ultimately with this program.